We're going to call this Lisa's Talk. I'm going to do a dialogue. It's called a dialogue. I haven't done Lisa Talk in a while. Y'all excuse me. Do you ever feel like you're just tired? I'm tired. Oh, boy. Seems like people be so tired all the time these days of time. But let's do a dialogue. I'm tired. I'm peaceful, but I'm just tired. Sometimes we can think and we can overthink, and this is not overthinking, but it is thinking. Okay? But this is a dialogue on Lisa's Talk. I put up a status a while ago. And I put the status up not to hurt nobody, but to help everybody. And the status goes like this. Oh, excuse me, y'all. I'm ashamed of myself, John. I'm tired. I'm so tired of sleeping, but I'm not going to take no nap. Maybe I need a nap. Oh, my goodness. I do a lot of ripping and running. I really do. I do a lot of going. And there's a lot of stuff that be on my mind. And I try to spend some. I spent 2 days with my grandchild. And I was grateful for that. But it's letting me know that I ain't no spring chicken. All right. But anyway, I want to do this dialogue. I want to do this. I put a status up saying this. You cannot be holy and whorish at the same time. There's no way. Growing up, I'm talking about myself, okay? Am I growing up? And I was listening to what Precious Jewel said on her ministry today, and I did share her ministry today. And I'm asking you to go back to it and listen to it because she was real good, very good today. But she did say something that stuck out to me. And that was that when we was coming up, parents back then was more stricter than parents are today. And when we was coming up, the parents monitored, I'm going to use the monitor, they really monitored their children whereabouts. They monitored where their children hung out. They monitored the people that the children was around. They did a lot of monitoring back then. And if they thought that somebody was not good for you to be around, you wasn't going to be around them people. I'm telling you, was not. And, you know, I can remember that. I can remember when they would tell you, you know, don't go around this one. You know, don't go around that one. They too fast. That's what they would say. They too fast in the pants. They was fast people. You know, they was fast girls. Or they called them fast gals. Now, I'm going to tell you what they said back then. They was fast gals. And you didn't go around fast gals. You know, when they saw the parents let the children did whatever and they hung out and did whatever, you didn't go around that type of activity. Because, you know, they did not want you to get connected with that type of activity. So back then, people would talk more to you about different things than probably what they're talking about now. Nowadays, you just, you know, people are going with the flow. But you didn't go with the flow like that. If you knew if somebody was drinking and they did a lot of, and you didn't drink with if the grown folks was drinking and the old folks was drinking and you was a child, and there was no way that you was going to drink with them old folks or them grown folks. You weren't going to be up in their face. You was going to be outside somewhere playing. You know, the world is so wide open now, but see, back when I was coming up, the world was not as wide open as it is today. A lot of things that children was not aware of, they didn't know anything about. And if it was a bad actor somewhere, then, you know, the parent was not going to be around or be involved with that bad actor, and you was not going to be involved with that bad actor. You know, that's just the way things were back in my time, back when I was coming up. And what brought me to say this is that if somebody was whoremongering, whorish, They weren't gonna be around that. They really looked bad on that. Back when I was coming up. They really looked bad on that. You know, and you had women's that would do anything. You did. You know, you had men's that would do anything. You know, you had some of them would go to those little hole in the wall clubs, and they would shake dance. You know, they would do them shake dancing, and the men would be looking at them, you know, shake dancing, shaking their body, dancing. I ain't lying, but still and yet, it was a separation. It was a separation from the women's back then. You could tell the women's that was wife material, because the women's that was wife material, you know, you could tell it from the women's that was not wife material, you know, and you didn't, those type of women's, the men went in the street to get those type of women's. They went in the street, they stayed in the streets with those type of women's. So you just didn't do, you know what I'm saying, all this stuff, you know, you didn't do all that. Like I said, they looked at shame on stuff like that back then. You know, it was a bad thing to do. It was a bad thing to even talk about. It really was, you know. Prostituting your body, being a whorish woman, being what the Bible call it harlot, Harlot, was really bad. And it still is bad. It still is bad. Standards was very high in my time. You know, you had to have, you know, your standards was high. I mean, it meant something to have good standards. It meant something to have a good reputation. It meant something, you know what I'm saying, to carry yourself in a God-fearing way, in a good way. It meant something to have integrity. It meant something to be intelligent. It meant something to speak right, to walk right, to, you know, it meant something. And people would teach you back then. They would teach you how you are supposed to conduct yourself. See, it's a lot has changed now. A lot of things that slip through the crack now didn't slip through the crack back then. And with this being whorish, and with this, some people are whorish, and whorish means lacking a whole lot of men. Some people is a little bit more deeper, and they deeper than the whorish, and they just prostitute their body for money. That was something that people looked down on. They really did. They looked down on that, and they didn't. If they was trying to bring you up in a good way, to the best of their ability, they didn't like for you to hang around with people like that. You didn't hang around people that did a whole lot of cursing either. Now, you heard cursing, but you didn't hang around a lot of cursing. You heard it, but they would tell you if you was a child, go outside. You didn't hang around a whole lot of cursing, you know. I didn't say you didn't hear it now, but they tried to protect the kids more back then. You know, you weren't gonna be up in all that. Whatever they talked about, you was not gonna be, you know, up in all that like that. Times have really changed. It has. It has really, really, really changed. It was a lot of stuff going on back then, just like there's a lot of stuff going on now. All right? But people tried to protect you more so back then. You know, and I'm going to say this. The majority of the mothers was mothers back then. The majority of the fathers was fathers back then. Father would say something and put his foot down, and that's what it was. All right? Mothers stayed at home with their children, took care of their children. They didn't drink with the children. They didn't party with them. You know what I'm saying? They didn't hang out with them. They didn't do different things that you see mothers and children do today. You know, they didn't do all that. You know, they shield their children, they protected them. So if they were a mother that liked to drink, you weren't gonna drink around your kids like that. Or they always had somebody else that they could trust and allow the child to go over to their house if they were going to one of the little hole in the wall clubs. See what I'm saying? Somebody where they knew that their kids was safe, you know, until they got back. They just didn't leave them at home by themselves. You know, they didn't do all that. They sacrificed. And at the times that we're living in now, people don't want to sacrifice where their children are concerned. They don't like to sacrifice anymore. You know, people was less selfish than what people are today. People today are more selfish. And they don't want to sacrifice. You know, they don't want to, and I'm not talking about all people, but I am talking about some people. Some people don't care who they like. They don't care who they have children for. They don't care who they get involved with. Back then, you know, it was a shame if you did these things. You know, if you were going with a married man, you knew it was wrong, or a married woman, you knew it was wrong. And if you had kids, you didn't for them, you didn't go and publicize it. You didn't try to hurry up and want that wife to find out, or that husband to find out that you've been fooling with their spouse. It's a lot of stuff now that goes on that people didn't just bring on to the table like they do now, so to speak. And it was wrong back then. It was wrong. It was wrong. But I'm just saying that they didn't just, you know, they just wasn't so out with it like they are now. Now, people don't care. They truly don't care. You didn't go around trying to break up people's happy homes or sad homes or miserable homes or whatever home, bad home, whatever home it has. It wasn't none of your business. So you didn't go around and try to tear up people's homes. If they was married, you didn't do that. People had respect for other people as well as they had respect for themselves. Oh, baby, this is Lisa's talk. This is Lisa's talk. Nowadays, people just don't have respect for themselves. And if a person don't have respect for themselves, they sure not going to have respect for you. And that's what's going on now. People was more trained up. They was more well nourished. They was more well raised than what people are today. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. People nowadays, I'm not saying everybody now, but some people are raised and trained up right. And some people just don't care about what they do. You got up in the morning, you got up cleaning up. You got up cleaning up. You got up, you know, you want to make sure that your house was clean, your food was on the table, your clothes was clean. You know, you got up doing something. You just didn't lay up in the bed all day long every day. You didn't do all that. You got up taking care of your household. And the man got up, and he got up going to work, trying to be a provider. He knew he had to provide for his family. I'm telling you. It was not all of the mess and stuff like it is today. And if it was, I'm going to say this. They had a good way of hiding it. It didn't come all out in opening. They started up on the table, and they kept it up on the table. I'm going to say that. If they did do it, they hid it. It was nothing for them to bring up to the front. Because they knew it was wrong anyway. And half the time they was ashamed of what they done. And that's another thing. When people did stuff, they was ashamed of what they did. And nowadays, ain't no shame in people's game. Ain't no shame in what people do these days and time. They just do, and don't care about what they do. You see? So times have changed, y'all. But God is still the same. He's still the same. He changes not. He changes not. You see, we as women's, ladies, young ladies, elder ladies, old ladies, middle-aged ladies, whatever, you've got to learn to carry yourself with some dignity. You've got to learn to carry yourself with some dignity and respect. And I'm going to tell you something. Some of this stuff was learned behavior. Some of the stuff was learned behavior. Some was taught behavior. Because you done had people that your parents done told you, well, this is the way you do it. This is how you get it. This is how you keep it. You know, this is who I want you. This is how you target this one and you target that one. See, it was people taught their children different things. And that's why people do different things and they know how to do low down and dirty stuff, because it was taught to them. It was taught to them. But y'all, let me tell y'all something. Ain't no way I'm going to teach my daughter to do something that's totally unethical, total disrespect, no character, no dignity, no standards. You know, you don't teach. You ought to be ashamed of yourself if you don't stop there and taught your child, and they are full grown now, how to go by and catch a cow, catch a dog, catch a cat. You ought to be ashamed. You know, no morals and no values. And now she's a straight up harlot. She's a straight up harlot. All because of what she have learned and seen and heard. Some houses, they call them hoe houses. That's a hoe house. And they know, and this is Lisa straight up talk, real talk. And they know if that house was a hoe house, they know when nothing going over there but going to that house but whorish people. Whorish people was going to that hoe house. And you did see people running in and out of the hoe house. You know. But they knew that that's exactly what it was. It was a whole house. God don't want us doing all this type of activity, babe. He don't want us doing it. But you have people that this is the type of lifestyle that they lived or is living. They seen it. They heard about it. They knew about it. And they was involved with it. They was involved with the whorish, the whole houses. And the whole house was a 24-hour whole house. I mean, the front door, the back door was open. And you could come in there anytime you got ready if you didn't go into a window. But that's exactly what it was. It was a whole house for whores. And all the men did was laid up with the women. That was it, laid up with them. And by laying up with them, they probably did get some of them pregnant by laying up. But I tell you, that is such of a disgrace. It is. It really is a disgrace to have a whole house like that. So, like I say, it was a lot of stuff that was, and when they had somebody that was good to them, they abused them, they acted fool with them, they dogged them out, they talked about them, they mistreated them, they fought them. You know, them women back then, the good women, they caught hell trying to be with them whorish men, with them whorish women out there in the street at the whole house. I'm telling you. And a lot of times those women held on to the men because the men was taking care of the home. They was home providers. But yet and still they was going out there and they was playing around with them nasty women. And they was giving them money too. They was giving them money too. See, it's something wrong. It's to me, and I ain't gonna be on here long because I got to go. It's something about a man in his mind when he go out there and work hard all day long, and some of them work all day and half of the night or all night. And they turn around and they work, all right? And they work to provide for their families, to pay the bills and put food on the table and different stuff, and to take care of their little snotty-nosed children, all right? And then they take their money and they go out there to the whole house. And they give their money to them whorish women out there in them streets. It's something wrong with a man's mind when he do stuff like that. On the other hand, it's something wrong with that whorish woman out there too that puts herself in a position like that. To be that type of woman, to use her precious body, to be able to sell her body for money from a man that is not none of her man. That's terrible. That's terrible. That's terrible. That is a disgrace. It is a disgrace. And when you get kids, let me tell you something about when you're a whore. When you are a whore, 9 times out of 10, your children gonna come up being a whore. Because they saw it from you. They saw that from you. That is learned behavior. That's exactly what it is. It is learned behavior. And they saw that from you. So they learned that. So it's best for us to do things in a righteous way, God-fearing way, so our kids won't see different things that's unethical, and they start selling their little precious body, and they start being with all kinds of different men, laying up with them, get out the bed with one, and go to bed with another one the same day or the same night. That's why their self-esteem is so low. They start belittling their own selves before they even find out who they are, who their identity is. That's why you see a lot of people, young ladies, and they have them booty shorts on. They don't try to cover themselves up. They want to reveal everything because it is they looking for the attention, and they're lacking attention, and they're looking for attention the wrong way. And then a pimp will come and pick them up and pimp them and prostitute them and use them and abuse them and then throw them out like trash. So where is your identity in that? Where's God in that? I tell you, he's nowhere in that. That's the devil's work. That's the devil activity. And that's the way the devil is. And y'all, these children are too precious for them to come up in this type of environment, for them to come up feeling like I've got to do this because this is not the attention or the affection or the love that you need, that you deserve. This is not love at all. This is a lustful desire, a nasty, low down and dirty desire. And they should have to go through this. But a lot of problems start at home. I'm going to be real. A lot of problems start at home. People are seeing so much of damage at home. And they done brought that damage from home. They done grew up in that damage. And they done brought that damage all the way up until they got grown. And now the damage is repeating itself. I saw damage myself. I saw stuff. That's why I say we have to learn to break the generation of curses. Because growing up, you do see things growing up. You do feel some type of way growing up, coming up. But you got to ask God to strengthen you so you can be able to break some of this stuff that's not of God. This generational curse. You don't have to be whorish. You don't have to be a prostitute. You don't have to feel that you just any man, that you just get any man. You don't have to break up somebody else's home. You don't have to get children from married men or married women. You don't have to do that. You don't have to prostitute your body. You don't have to go to no shake dance, hole in the wall club and shake your body for money. It's some things that you don't have to drink and feel like you got to drink and drink and drink and drink and drink. You don't have to smoke dope. You don't have to do that. You don't have to be doing all this stuff, talking about, because you talking thinking that you're having fun, but you're really messing up. You don't have to do that. You can conduct yourself and live in a conservative way, a holy way, a God-fearing way. You don't have to do that because it don't look good and you don't look good doing it. It's a disgrace. It is definitely a disgrace and you don't have to do it. Just because you saw somebody being a whore don't mean that you have to be a whore. And it's not of God. It's not of God. Get out there and work. Go to work. You know what I'm saying? It's so much you can do. Use your mind in a better way than that, a positive way. Everybody come your way. You ain't got to flip-flop with them. And some people, they take it to the extreme. They bring that stuff on their jobs. They work on a job, so be working, and you know anything, women's and stuff coming out all on the jobs and going on. It just don't take all that. So we need to stop some of the stuff that we're doing. Stop playing around like that, because that's not of God. That's not of God. But back in my time, yeah, they just didn't let you fool with certain type of people. You know, they didn't. They now you ain't going here, and now you're not going over there. Now you're not talking to this one, and especially when they saw the type of reputation that they had. And they don't care if they was kin to you or not. That didn't matter. They did not matter whether they was kin to you or not. If they was kin folks or not, it did not matter. Now, such and such ain't raising their kids right. Such and such have not trained their children right. So you're not going over there. They tried to raise you, train you up better with good morals and good standards. Something that we done got away from that we do really need to go back to. Having standards. You know, I don't know when the devil came in and brought us, trying to bring people's standards down. But back then, and it wasn't about what you had, what you didn't have, what neighborhood you lived in. It wasn't about that. You could have been in a shotgun house, but you had some standards, baby. And somebody could have lived in a mansion and then have no kind of standards. So it was not about, you didn't stereotype it like that. But yet and still, you know what I'm saying, you just couldn't fool with everybody. You had to be set apart. So this setting apart ain't just started coming. It's been around. It's been in the Bible. Yes, it's been in the Bible. But also this setting apart has been from generation to generation. This setting apart has been in different families. If you were set apart, and them folks back there believe in having fun, but they believe in having good, clean fun. They just didn't let their kids just see everything they did. And they didn't talk about, you know what I'm saying? They didn't talk out and try to teach them to do it this way. Because why would you teach your child to be whorish? And don't get me wrong, some people did not teach their children to be whores. Some of them just picked up on it. Some of them just picked up on it. Some of them might have listened to somebody else. Might have been, because sometimes we'll get to the point where, well, I can't, my folks was real strict on me. And I know I got strict parents, so so-and-so mother's a little bit more lingered on her. Or dad is lingering. So I'm going to ease over here, and I'm going to go over here with the lingering one. There's more linger. And they can pick up on it like that. They can start doing things like that for somebody going to somebody's house that's a little bit more linger. You see what I'm saying? That's why things is like it is today, though. You got to be careful. And you didn't hear about all these diseases and stuff that's out like it is now. So that's why I say you got to be careful. It's never good to lay down with one man or one woman. Then you lay down, you go back over here and lay with this and then lay with that one and lay with that and lay. Oh my God. Oh, that's a disgrace. And it's nasty. It's really nasty. And the reason why God wants us to talk about it is because these younger generations, and I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of people have thrown standards out the door. Integrity out the door. Intelligence out the door. And you're seeing it. You're seeing it, from, some of the younger generations. They got kids and they sitting right up there with the kids, listening to all this nasty stuff. You know, that's not what you're supposed to be doing with your children. God, your children are a gift from God. And who wanna have a lot of children for somebody that's married and they're not in the same household you is? That's crazy. That's why I said that some people bread is just ain't done. Your bread ain't done. That is so crazy to do that. It really is. It's crazy to do that, baby. It's crazy. I ain't lying. When you should want them to be all in the same household. That's crazy. It's really crazy. But time we living in now, you see all kinds of stuff. You hear all kinds of stuff. And you have to really get away from all this type of stuff. And I just believe that you ought to cherish your sons and you ought to cherish your daughters. I really believe that. You ought to cherish them. And you ought to not want to make mistakes, so many mistakes in front of them. Now, you're going to make some, yeah. But you ought not want to make so many mistakes in front of them, and definitely not the same mistakes. You see what I'm saying? Because it affects everybody. It don't just you the one, you know, but selfish people don't care. Selfish people don't care. Because they're selfish. But sacrifice people care. Because they're the ones that are doing the sacrifice. You find people that so bold come to you and going on and talking about they done had this one and had that one and this, that. Baby, let me tell you something. And I'm finna go. I'm gonna say this and I'm going. Having somebody and being with somebody and loving somebody and dating somebody and having a relationship or in a relationship with somebody in a marriage, that's all different things. Because somebody can have you and they can have sex with you and they still is not with you. And somebody can have you and shacking with you and still ain't really with you, ain't with you. Because you're never with a person until you're in a marriage ship with them. And that is a commitment ship. Now, if they go out and break that covenant, then that's on them. You see what I'm saying? And most of the time, they so tied in with that till they ain't going nowhere, no way. Because they too tied up with it, with financial stuff. So we have to just be careful and mindful. And I always think. And we don't realize. I thought about the Jacksons. And when I grew up on the Jackson 5, you know the Jacksons, I thought about the Jacksons. And I thought about when Jovella Jackson wrote that book, Bastard's Child. And I thought about when she got on and she talked about Joseph Jackson. And but we don't never see it. All that Joseph Jackson had did affected everybody that was involved. It affected his wife, Catherine. It affected all the Jacksons that he had for his wife. It also affected Jovella's mama and Jovella. It did. It affected them. And he tried to keep them hid and keep them on the other side of town, but they weren't too far from the Jacksons. And he would go over there and buy her stuff and get her stuff and do this and that or whatever. But he knew and that he was never going to be able to just be right there with her all of the time. He knew that. He knew, and her mama knew it too. And her mama eventually tried to get away from him, and whatever. But then he started trying to keep coming back over there. See, she let that door open. She opened the door. But guess what happened to that girl mama? That girl mama died. Jovella, if you get her book, look her up, and it's just going to tell you, her mama died. Her mother died, okay? Her mother died. Check this out. She ended up having a child herself. She got her own child. I don't know what Jovella doing now. And now she don't have no mama no more. Her daddy, he gone. But guess what? Catherine, she's still living. You see what I'm saying? She's still living. And even though she done lost a few of her children, but the majority of her children is still living. So, y'all, all I'm saying is that we all have to be careful and mindful of what we're doing. That's what I'm saying. And that's why I talked about temptation earlier on Lisa Live Ministry. This is Lisa's talk. This stuff is not good. It's not healthy, and it's just not whole. It's just not good. And that other, they don't really, they know about Jovetta. They know about him. But they really don't deal with her. And that makes Jovetta feel some type of way, because Jovetta had wanted to be a part of their family. But the way that he got her is what made it so bad for Jovetta. And then on top of that, Jovetta's an only child. She's an only child. So they don't have any, they are very successful, but they don't really have nothing to do with her though. And it's really not her fault, but it is her daddy and mama's fault. And that's their choice. That is their choice if they want to be with her or not. Because kids feel some type of way when a daddy goes out and he do stuff like that and get outside children like that. And then they have been here all the time. And then they feel like, you know, I'm right here. I wasn't good enough for you. But see, it's the whorish. It's the whoreness in a man to do this. And I don't care what man it is. It's the whoreness in a woman that does this. But somebody is going to suffer. Somebody going to suffer. So it's going to affect somebody. And most of the time, it affects everybody. Don't nobody win in a situation like that. Nobody wins in a situation like that. But we got to stop being so whorish. We got to learn to be holy. And there's no way that you can be holy and whorish at the same time. There's no way. Now, somebody ain't going to like this, and I don't care. I'm going to tell you the truth. There's no way you can be a whorish person and a holy person at the same time. You can't serve God and the devil too. Something has got to drop off. Something got to give. Something got to drop off. Something got to give. Look up today. Let that be your sign. Look up Jovetta Jackson. Look her up. And she kind of have a little attitude, you know, for the Jacksons. You know what I'm saying? But hey, people got feelings. She got her feelings. They got their feelings. They got feelings. But they don't fool with her. They know about them. And I'm pretty sure they don't wish her no bad harm. But what do they have in common? One family was in the spotlight. One family was in God's light, and the other was in darkness from the devil. But we never see things like this, and we never do. And I'm, you know, but I'm telling y'all. We in stuff for fun and games, and we don't know and don't care who things hurt further on down the road. And when people get to be successful and they go on with their lives, they got their lives to they ain't got time to be worried about what their parents have done, because that's not on the children no way. That's on the parents. I'm gonna be real. That's not on the children. You can't get upset with the kids. That's on the parents that put themselves in this real bad situation. That's who is on. All right, this was Lisa's talk. That's why I say, and then people have to put themselves in this too. What if it was your husband? How would you like it? What if it was your wife? How would you like it? You see, what if it was somebody you was involved with? How would you like that? See, we'll dish it. But then when it comes down to what if, then it's something totally different. We couldn't handle it. And some of you wouldn't even accept it. Some of you, because you're selfish anyway. So some of you would you know, go on like it ain't nothing. But how can you though? That's why I say you have to have a heart, baby. A lot of folks don't have a heart. They don't have the heart, but they'll do it. But when they come back around, it's something totally different. But I'm gonna look it up myself today by Jovella Jackson. I want to get that book on Bastard's Child. I don't know if I looked it up one time. I don't think they had it in Barnes and Noble, but it might be a way I can pull up on YouTube. But it just I'm just saying, it's something, y'all. We just need to try to learn to do right by people. We need to learn to do right, and that's the problem. We don't want to do right, but we go over here to these whole houses. We go to the whole houses. That's not of God, though. It's not of God. And I'm going to tell you something. The type of talk that I talk on Lisa Live Ministry and the things that the Lord put in me for Lisa Live Ministry and the things I talk about Lisa talk, you're not going to find this, because most time, the time we're living in now, we're living in such of a selfish world today. People don't care. People don't care. And they don't care. And they don't care. They don't care. They'll take it all the way to the graveyard. They just really don't care. But y'all, we've got to learn to be more caring about people. And we've got to learn to try to get this stuff together. And see, that's why there's so many generational curses have not been broken. They started just going on down the bloodline. They are going down the bloodline. Because people they're not courageous. They don't want to stand up. You know what I'm saying? They just don't want to do right. And they get mad at the one that will stand up. Well, I'm going to stand. I'm going to stand up for what's right. I'm going to stand up for what's right. And there's nothing right about it. All right? I don't care if it's me. If I'm going out there horn around, then I need my butt toed up. Because I should love myself first and foremost enough to be better than that. But some people like to be whored. They like that whoredom. They love that whoredom lifestyle. And that's why they don't really have what they really need today. Because they're not going to get it from the Lord like that. I'm telling you. They're not. They're not going. I don't care how they're doing and what they're doing and all this kind of stuff. They're not going to be blessed from the Lord like that. Now, you can take it for whatever it's worth. You're not going to be blessed like that. The only way you're going to really truly be blessed, you're going to have to do it right. Because God is righteous. All right, then. This was Lisa's talk. And I know that some people, they come on and see what I got to say and these pop on. I don't care what you pop. I don't got to point out. I don't even care. Because I have a mission to do for the Lord. I'm on assignment for him. And I'm going to say what it is. And only thing I can say, you can get better or you can get worse with it. That's on you. Because it's your reputation that's tore up from the floor up.